This video describes the creation and deployment of a FastAPI application, thus enabling developers to quickly generate a functional code structure, customize this application to meet specific requirements, and deploy it to development environment. On this demo, we will create a new FastAPI application, deploy the initial code to the dev environment, check CI pipelines, perform code review, delivery, and update it by deploying the new version. EDP instance is deployed and configured with Gary, Tecton, and Argo CD tools. Developer has administrator role and access to the EDP instance using the single sign-on approach. Let's get access to the platform and scaffold the new FastAPI application. Open headlamp URL and sign in. Ensure that namespace value in user settings tab point to the namespace with the EDP installation. Let's create a new EDP component with application type. To do this, navigate to EDP block, go to component section and click create button. Select the application codebase type, as we are going to deliver our application as container and deploy it inside Kubernetes cluster. Choose create strategy to scaffold our application from templates provided by EDP. In the application info section, application name FastAPI, default branch main, application code language Python, language version framework FastAPI, and build tool Python. In advanced settings section, CI tool Tecton, codebase versioning type EDP, start version from 0.0.1, and we don't need additional integration with Jira server, so click apply. Let's check our application status. Application status created, application branch status created. To deploy the application, we need to have artifacts that are resulting from a build pipeline. To trigger build pipeline in manual mode on the application branch, click the build button. General information about pipelines is available on headlamp UI. To track pipelines status, access Tecton dashboard by clicking FastAPI demo application link. On build pipeline, we enable some logic. Check out source code from Git repository. Get application version to build artifacts with this version. Run sonarkube code checks to make sure that quality of code at the appropriate level. Run tests and linting. Compile and publish artifacts to Nexus. Build image and publish to image repository. In this case, we use AWS ECR. And tag Git repository. Build pipeline was successfully completed. To enable application deployment, create a CD pipeline. Go to headlamp, EDP, CD pipelines tab and click create plus button to create new CD pipeline. Define pipeline name mypipe. Deployment type container, as we are going to deploy containers. Application FastAPI demo. Define branch for this application main. Let's add stages. Stage name, let's use dev. Description for this stage, development environment. Trigger type manual, we plan to deploy application for this environment in manual mode. Quality gate type manual, step for this quality gates manual. Status of CD pipeline created. Status of CD pipeline stage also created. Let's deploy the initial version of the application to the development environment. Open Stage tab and select first version in the image stream version. This version is a result of build pipeline. Then click Deploy. Ensure that application status is synced and healthy, and as well as deployed version point to the current deployed version. Now we can check that selected version of the container is deployed on the dev environment. In the appropriate namespace, let's move to Workloads tab and choose the Deployment section to get full list of deployments available in this namespace. Let's switch our headlamp UI to new dev environment namespace. Application deployment are available. Navigate to pod tab to get list of all deployed pods in this namespace. Check the image of this pod. Application is deployed. To describe the code review process, we need to define the goal of new code. For example, we should expose API outside the Kubernetes cluster for the FastAPI application. To perform this, we need to enable ingress kind in Kubernetes for these Helm charts. Let's log in to Git UI and select FastAPI demo project with the aim to create a change request. In command section of the project, click create change button. Here indicate the branch main and commit message. Click edit button to edit default values YAML file that is used for the application deployment. Let's move to ingress section in values YAML file and define values for ingress enabled true. Click Save and Publish and mark as active. As a result of new change request in Gerrit, the code review pipeline is triggered in Tekton. On code review pipeline, we enable some logic. Check out source code for Git repository. Runs on our code checks to make sure that quality of code at the appropriate level. Run tests and linting. Build image, a linked Docker file, and link Helm charts. As a result of code review pipeline, we have label verified in Gerrit change request. If pipeline is passed successfully, we get +1 vote. Now we merge this patch to the main branch. Simply click code review +2 and then submit. After we have merged the new code into the target branch, the build pipeline is launched and creates the second artifact that is used for deployment. Let's check the pipeline status. The logic behind this pipeline is the same as during the first build of the application, only opposite the update code in the branch. Before deploying a new version of application, let's check that ingress of object in an existing deployment. Navigate to Headlamp UI, switch to FastAPI deployed namespace, select Network Sections and Ingress tab to get the list of all ingresses deployed in this namespace. Empty list as expected. Build pipeline was successfully completed. Now we are deploying a new application version which has the ingress object in place. As we use the manual deployment trigger type approach, we perform version upgrade manually. Switch to Headlamp UI, EDP, CD pipelines, MyPipe, Dev stage and choose the image stream version second. Click Update to update the application version. Application is synced and healthy. To check that the new application version is deployed, move to the Workload tab. Switch to Pods to get list of all deployed pods in application namespace. Let's check that image version of this pod. The second version of the application is available. And check Ingress object. Open Network Ingresses. Ingress object is available. Now we open host of this ingress to get access to this application via external endpoint. As a result of this demo, we have onboarded the FastAPI application into EDP, built the initial artifact of this application, deployed the initial version of the application, made change to the application source code, enable external endpoint access ingress, passed the code review process. Thank you for watching.